Hi, my name is Allison Sadowsky, and this is my health plan PowerPoint focusing on gay and lesbian discrimination in North Dakota. I would like to start out with a quote from Nelson Mandela. "No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite." A little history or background of the gay and lesbian community within North Dakota. The first criminal law against sodomy in North Dakota was enacted in 1862. In 1927, there wasn't a law that initially was designed to permit the sterilization of mentally and physically disabled inmates. However, it was expanded and gave state authorities the permission to do the sterilization for people that they found to be habitually criminal mischief, habitually, moral degenerates, or sexual perverts, which the homosexual community fell into that category at that time. This law for sterilization was revoked in 1965. In 1973, the state legalized private, adult, consensual homosexual relations. However, they deemed the criminal code deemed the universal age of consent at 18 years of age. The U.S. Supreme Court found the denial of marriage rights to same-sex couples unconstitutional, and thus same-sex marriage became legalized in North Dakota this year on June 26th, excuse me. On February 17th of this year, the North Dakota Senate voted 25-22 and failed to pass a bill that would have banned discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity for employment, housing, and public accommodation purposes. The lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, or LGBT community is very diverse. It's composed of people with various races, ethnicities, and socioeconomic backgrounds. However, they all face a common set of challenges within our healthcare system. Daniel and Buckus in 2015 identified 6 key health disparities among this population. The first being that gay and bisexual men are at an increased risk for certain sexually transmitted infections, and that they account for more than half of all persons with HIV and AIDS within the United States. The second was that lesbian women are less likely to receive preventative cancer screenings such as mammography or pap smears. The third is that lesbian and bisexual women are more likely to be overweight or obese, causing complications with other health problems. The fourth is that lesbian, gay, and bisexual persons are more likely to become disabled at a younger age than the heterosexual community. The fifth is that the discrimination that this population endures causes an increase in psychological distress. And the last is that there's an increased rate of anxiety, suicide, and substance or alcohol abuse within this community. Some statistical support. A recent national study focused on the lesbian, gay, and bisexual persons and found that they were 1.5 to 2 times more likely than the heterosexual community to report lifetime mood or anxiety disorders. Most Americans gain their health insurance from their employer, and the data was kind of sparse, However, there was a survey in 2009 in California that found a 14% rate of unemployment in the homosexual community. However, the only a 10% of unemployment of the heterosexual community. Lesbians between the ages of 15 and 29 years old are twice as likely than heterosexual women to have attempted suicide. And then McAndrews and Warney in 2012 found that 25% of self-harm among males was being attributed to same-sex attraction or homosexuality. With this background and statistical support, a health plan needs to be developed to account for the increased mental health concerns for the gay and lesbian community, specifically in North Dakota due to the recent failed bill preventing discrimination within our community. So a health plan was developed, and the mission or goal for this particular health plan is that we will increase awareness of the effects of the gay and lesbian population discrimination while increasing the acceptance of this population. I identified 2 objectives for this plan. The first being that we will increase awareness of the effects of discrimination while increasing the acceptance of the gay lesbian population within North Dakota. And the second is that we will identify 2 support mechanisms for this particular population. Some interventions that were identified for the first objective, which again was to increase awareness of the discrimination while increasing acceptance of the gay lesbian population within North Dakota. According to McAndrews and Warney in 2012, professionals responsible and accountable for the effective delivery of mental health and social care need to increase their knowledge of the issues faced among young homosexuals. Professionals really have the responsibility to recognize their own prejudices and consider how that might affect their relationships with the young people that they are the young people that they're working with. So the first intervention is that we will create a pamphlet that is going to be available in clinics and schools that will outline the effects of discrimination as well as bullying of gay and lesbian. The second is that we will continue to lobby for the passing of the anti-discrimination bill for the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community within North Dakota. Then there were 2 interventions that were identified for the second objective, which again was to identify 2 support mechanisms for this homosexual population. The first intervention identified is to create 2 support groups. The first one for teens and the second one for adults, where the group can come together, share, support each other, discuss particular problems that are going on within that particular group as well as that particular age. According to McAndrews and Warney in 2012, during the child's formative years, school really plays a significant part in the social life and the development of self. With that being said, the second intervention is to team up with school counselors to create a safe place for counseling, as well as to provide the counselors with the adequate resources for referrals when students really need a little further care. There are some resources that will need to be identified to ensure quality as well as safety during the implementation of this plan. The resources that were identified were first that we need to identify potential grants for the schooling. The second is that we need to identify volunteers for the support groups to lead them. Then the nurses with advanced degrees also have a variety of roles that we need to ensure with this to be successful with this plan. The first is that people with advanced nursing degrees need to continue to lobby for the rights of within the government for this particular community. They can speak at schools to educate and increase awareness of the discrimination and bullying that is occurring. And they can either lead or organize the support groups that we discussed, coming up with topics, teaming up people that have similar issues. So in conclusion, we have made great strides in North Dakota for the rights of homosexuals. However, there is definitely room for improvement. North Dakota law still does not address hate crimes in North Dakota due to homosexuality. To increase the safety of our next generations here in North Dakota, we must open our eyes to this particular problem. With the implementation of what I see a very simple health plan, we may be able to decrease mental illness, including suicide, depression, substance and alcohol abuse within this community, and we may also increase acceptance of this particular population. I would like to leave you with a quote from Pope Francis. "If a person is gay and seeks the Lord and is of good will, who am I to judge him?" Here are my resources or references, and thank you very much.